Hey guys, welcome back to another week of the EV Weekly Wrap. My name's Roland and I'm here to give you guys all of the EV news between Australia and across the world over the past week. So for this week, I'll be honest with you guys, you can see a whole lot of brands up here on the right hand side. Not a lot in the Australian market. Most of it is because from all the news coming out of Shanghai for the Shanghai Auto Show. Now it's only the second or third day there at the moment, so actually we've still got over a week left, so there will still be more content coming over the next week for news coming out of the Shanghai Auto Show. Anyways, enough news still to run a full episode for you guys, so let's jump straight into it. So the first one here is the Ford Transit. So this one here is called the E-Transit Custom. There is also a PHEV, which is a plug-in hybrid version called the Transit Custom. I'm not going to talk too much more on the plug-in hybrid, but if you are interested, it's got a 11.8 kilowatt hour battery, 111 kilowatts for the electric motor, 86 kilowatts for a 2.5 litre petrol motor, and it is front-wheel drive. So not such amazing specs, but we're here to talk about EVs, so the E-Transit Custom is the one that we're talking about today. Look, I'm not big on commercial vehicle knowledge, so I can't comment on how good the range is, but what I can comment on is from the personal vehicles or passenger type vehicles side of things. Consumption seems to be fairly high for this car. Average range doesn't seem to be really high. Is that normal? I don't know. I'm keen to hear from you guys that are experts out there in the commercial vehicle space to let everyone else know and to educate all of us on, is that acceptable to have average range of, for the long wheelbase, 301 and the short wheelbase, 307 kilometers. So, yep, drop it in the comments, guys. Keen to hear from you guys. Anyways, so two variants we'll get here in Australia. So the short wheelbase and the long wheelbase, the two figures there are including GST but excluding other on-road costs, so add a couple of $1,000 to that for your driveway price. And 64 kilowatt hour battery, it's rear wheel drive, so it's going to drive better than the plug-in hybrid, which is front wheel drive. And yeah, pause the screen there, have a look at all the specs. What do you guys think? As I said, I'm not an expert in the commercial vehicle space, so keen to hear from you guys, but that's essentially all of it, and it is coming in Q3 2025. Okay, that's enough for Ford. Let's move on to its rival, Cadillac, or GM Motors. So, the Cadillac OPTIQ is a car that's not even here in Australia as yet. However, the OPTIQ is a car that's similar to when we had the Cadillac Lyriq announced, the V series, which is the performance series, that was released. And so, now the OPTIQ is going to receive the same treatment. So some of the specs that you see here at the moment is the OPTIQ produces 224 kilowatts of power, 480 newton meters of torque, paired to the 85 kilowatt hour NMC battery. So performance, let's take some guesses. My view is it's going to have roughly in the vicinity of 300 kilowatts, if not 350. That's just a personal guess, and it's going to sit underneath the Lyriq. So it's a smaller SUV than the Cadillac Lyriq. And this one here is essentially the normal version that you can see over here. And then with the leaked images, you can see there's a little V badge over here and then the V badge over here. So that's all the information we know. We don't have anything else. So as always, I'll keep you guys posted once the time comes. Okay, so BYD and K-Class, what do they have in common? At the moment, nothing. However, 12 months from now, potentially a lot more. So, what is this news about? So, I'm not too sure if you guys are familiar, but in Japan they have a concept of K-cars, which is KEI. Now, K-cars are very small vehicles that apparently account for about 40% of all of the Japanese car market. So that's pretty significant, right? Now, most of them are petrol, some are hybrids as well, and not many EVs. Now, the reason why is because you see here, this point over here, this last point, K vehicles must measure no longer than 3.4 meters, no wider than 1.48 meters, and those with petrol engines must have displacement no greater than 660 cc. And so, when you do have a car of that size and you do have a K-Class car, it does actually give you, I guess, tax benefits or cheaper registration. I'm not too sure on the specifics. I definitely know it's to do with a cheaper registration type model. And so you can see here that there's two K-Class cars down the bottom over here, which is the Mitsubishi EKX and also the Nissan Sakura. So BYD essentially wants to enter that market. So yeah, it's going to be a first specific model that BYD are bringing into Japan, specifically for Japan. And so what that means is there will be a car that is actually going to be smaller than the BYD Seagull, which we currently don't get in Australia. It hasn't even been confirmed. Apparently it's been written off as an idea for Australia because they're saying the car is already too small. But looking at the K-Class size, see 3.78 meters long, 1.715 meters wide. If you look at the specs that I put over here, the Seagull is actually already bigger than the K-Class car, so it actually can't meet those current requirements. So what that means is they're going to build a car that's even smaller than that to compete in the Japanese market. So that's going to be quite exciting, right? So we haven't seen anything like this before, so it's going to be the first of its kind. They're going to build something specific for the Japanese market, and what they're going to compete with is essentially these two cars that are pretty much up there as, I guess, the target competitors. So for context, this Mitsubishi car over here, you can see, is just under $30,000. Same with this Nissan Sakura over here. Now in terms of specs, so the motor and the battery is pretty much the same between these two Mitsubishi and Nissan. So I would dare say maybe they're actually even from the same company they're built. But either way, what do they have? So those two cars down the bottom, 20 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery. It's got 47 kilowatt motor and 195 newton meters of torque, and that's it. So 47 kilowatts in terms of motor power. So that's what the two down the bottom essentially have. And so fast forward 12 months, let's see what happens. But basically that's going to be the aim. So you can see there it's due for release in Japan in the second half of 2026. So I dare say within less than 12 months we are definitely going to have more information on this. So watch this space, guys. That one is really interesting. Alright, let's keep moving on. So you guys may remember the Mazda EZ-60, otherwise known as the CX-6E for international markets. So a few weeks ago I showed you guys this. It was set to be sold outside of China as the CX-6E, and it's going to be coming in EV form and also extended range EV form. So the news this week is that the interior photos are out. So let's jump straight into it. So here you go. What do you see? What do we notice as, I guess, key changes? So I've actually got a list I've written here, so let me read it out to you. So there's a huge 26.45 inch 5K display, serves both as a central touchscreen and a passenger display, which is this section over here. There is no instrument cluster over here, but there is a heads-up display over here. There is also no physical switch gears over here like your traditional vehicles, so they potentially have moved it to either the left or the right side of the steering wheel to control. You do have 23 speaker sound system that supports Dolby Atmos, and also a touchscreen in the rear allows backseat passengers to adjust climate and entertainment settings. This one here is the two-tone with white and purple. You can see that I did mention previously that this car is essentially based off the Deepal S07, and so looking at the seats, that kind of gives it away that it is pretty much like the Deepal S07. Or the only specs we have of the car itself is actually for the extended range EV at the moment, which says that it's got a 31.73 lithium ion or LFP battery paired with a 72 kilowatt 1.5 litre engine. The specific EV only, those specs have not been released yet. So right-hand drive production has been confirmed for this vehicle, but we're yet to hear around any confirmation for this car coming into Australia. So that's all the news that we have for the Mazda EZ-60 or the CX-6E. Let's keep moving on. Okay, Lexus EX. So it's made its debut at the Shanghai Auto Show ahead of Australia's release next year. So you've got both battery and hybrid this time round, so that's a really exciting bit. I said it, battery and hybrid. So traditionally Toyota and Lexus have always just been hard on hybrid. Hybrid. That's all they've been doing. But this time round, with this new platform, it's also coming in battery. So it is going to be a much bigger platform. So this is the newly developed TNGA GA-K platform. So the older technology or the older architecture was called the Toyota GA-K or GAK, and that actually underpinned quite a few models, which was and that was across both Toyota and Lexus. So the outgoing ES models also covered off in that architecture Toyota RAV4, Toyota Camry, Toyota Kluger, Lexus NX and Lexus RX. So what you guys see here is all of the specs for the Lexus ES. You can see based on the middle row here where it says powertrain, so the first two are hybrids and the second two are EVs, so that's probably the more interesting one. So what this actually means is that there is potential for Toyota to bring out EVs for a RAV4, for Camry, for a Kluger. Lexus also to do it for the NX and the RX. So this new platform is the absolute enabler for the next wave of cars or EVs coming out of Toyota and Lexus. So what do you guys think? Is that exciting? Is that going to push you guys to buy that? I think it's a good move for them finally, right? Because, you know, they've already got a market. There's so many people that are die-hard Toyota and Lexus fans, and I think this will just kind of help them push them over the line to jump into the world of EVs. Anyways, that's all the news we have on Lexus, so let's keep moving on. Okay, the ZEEKR 009 Grand Collector Edition. What a mouthful. So, this car is being launched for $123,200 US. So, borderline $250,000 Australian as a direct conversion. Now, first things first, this is not coming to Australia. We don't even get the grand version, which is the 4-seater version, so we're definitely not going to get this one. Not anytime soon anyway. But what's so cool about this car? What's so cool about this car is this car has physical gold on the car. So it's got gold decorative parts on places such as the front logo, rear logo, window frames, door handles, side step, and also the wheels as well. So it's 4-seat layout similar to the actual normal Grand model, and it has a whole heap of things that you would normally not expect in a car. So 43-inch 4K entertainment system, you've got additional controls, massage, all of that good stuff, all accessible from the back. And let me show you guys the interior photos. Look at that. So here's the 2 seats at the back that you can recline. So remember, this is normally a people mover that can hold 6 or 7 people, but this Grand version is only for 4. So you can imagine all of the space that you'd have at the back. This is the massive screen that pretty much you can see here, so that blocks out that section between the passenger and the driver, or the first row. And you've got all your controls there. You can have your video conferences there, everything. Apparently it's also got 2-way satellite messaging and calls capability as well. But the main thing is it's got a massive 43-inch 4K screen, and you can do so many things. And don't forget, it also has a fridge inside as well. And the one thing that I thought was pretty interesting was the carpet in this car is made from camel hair from the Andean mountain in Peru. Now I don't know if that's true or not. That's based on the article that I saw, but yeah, I thought that was a fairly interesting fact. Anyways, gold on a car, is that too much? I'd be thinking, like, can you imagine if this car was in Australia or in Sydney? Those badges would be gone. Someone would be pinching them for sure. Anyways, that is the ZEEKR 009 Grand Collector's Edition. So let's move on to the next one. Alright, Volkswagen. So 3 new concept cars. So the ID Aura, the ID Era and the ID Evo. Now I'm not too sure if you guys can see it, so let me highlight them for you. So this one here is the ID Aura. Now these 3 concept cars were actually built, whilst it's from the Volkswagen brand, it's actually formed from Volkswagen and the partnership with another company. So this first one here is the ID Aura, which is from FAW Volkswagen. Now FAW Volkswagen is a joint venture between Volkswagen Group and China FAW Group Corporation. So that's FAW is First Automobile Works. So it's a state-owned Chinese automotive manufacturer. So here's the description: a compact electric sedan concept based on new China-specific CMP platform targeting users seeking modern aesthetics and smart tech. The next one that we've got over here is the Era, Volkswagen Era, which is this bottom right one. So it's bigger SUV. So this is the partnership between SAIC or SAIC and Volkswagen. And SAIC is essentially another state-owned Chinese automotive manufacturer. And then the third one here is the Volkswagen Anhui joint, and that was basically another partnership between Volkswagen Group and Anhui Jinghui Automobile Group, or JAC Motors. Now, jumping back to the ERA, so this is a range extender EV, or it's the first one of its type, so I won't cover too much more on that one, but big SUV, so I would say they're probably going to target, say, 1,000 kilometers to put that number up there. Now, the ID Evo is a full-sized BEV, so 100% pure electric battery EV, and this is based on deep collaboration between VW and XPeng via the Anhui venture aimed at young urban users seeking diverse lifestyles. Now, that's all the information we have from the Volkswagen Group. What do you guys think about the cars? I personally think they look really good. Compared to, I guess, some of the other cars that we've seen come out from the Volkswagen brand, I think these ones are refreshing to see because they are totally new design and they don't kind of give you the traditional Volkswagen vibes. And what I mean by that, actually, let's jump to the next one because I'll show you guys. This is the ID.3 GTX. So GTX, remember, is usually the top spec or the higher performance one. And so what do you get for this one here? So you've got the normal ID.3. This is the ID.3 GTX. So pause the screen if you guys want to read line by line. Here's all the differences that I've been able to capture. And also, the current ID.3 in China, you can see here, is a 125 kilowatt rear motor. So you can see it goes up to 210. And then there's also a performance GTX model, which is 240. So a whole lot more power in the same shape. So it's definitely going to be a fun car. There's no confirmation on this car coming to Australia, not anytime soon anyway, from what I've been able to find out. So yeah, something for you guys to see in China. What do you guys think of the looks? Do you guys see my point in what I mentioned? I feel like when you look at this car, even if you didn't have any of the badging or anything, this screams Volkswagen. That's just my personal opinion. I think the front looks like a Volkswagen Up, and the back looks like a Volkswagen Golf in the current 8th gen. So, as I said, even if you remove the badge, I'd say you could definitely say this car is a Volkswagen. And I don't think I could have said that in the previous ones. Okay, enough of Volkswagen. Let's keep moving on. Denza Z. So, Denza, as you guys may know, or you may recall, is the luxury brand, one of the luxury brands from BYD, or mid-tier luxury brand. And they're releasing another concept car, sports car, supercar. What do you guys call it? For me, if I look at that, I'd call it, they're probably targeting supercar territory. So even though it's another BYD brand, Yangwang U9, watch out, this one's coming for you. Okay, so the headline for this one is BYD Denza unveiled its first concept coupe, which is an all-electric 4-seater car that's going to compete with the Porsche 911. So the only things that we know at this point in time is it's a 4-seater coupe, carbon fiber bucket seats, including the 4-point harness, foldable steering wheel, which they're saying is going to help in case someone gets in an accident or there's a crash. It's going to be foldable so you can get someone out easier. It also means that the flip side is getting in the car with a helmet and whatnot is also going to be easier. Power and specs and all of that good stuff actually currently is all unknown. There's been no disclosure of any of that. However, if we had to take some guesses and I guess work through with some logic, the Denza Z9 GT, which is that ultimate really long, sleek, powerful wagon, which or Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo competitor, that currently exists already. That's got 710 kilowatts. It goes from 0 to 100 in 3.4 seconds. Also has 4 seats. So, what does that mean for this car? I would say you'd see within the vicinity at the bare minimum of around that triple motor 710 kilowatts, if not faster. So I guess it depends where they want to kind of position this car. Is it going to be positioned at the same level as the supercar wagon type car as the Z9 GT, or are they just going to say that this is going to be the halo model, in which what that means is it's got to be much higher than the 710 kilowatts and also have a much faster 0 to 100 time. So what do I think? I think it looks great. I think it definitely has the supercar vibes when you look at it, and I'm just keen to see this one come to life. So who knows? It's a concept car at the moment, so we'd have to just wait and see. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Alright, next up we have the MG Cyberstar, or the Cyber. So there's two parts to the news in this video, or on this slide. So the first one is MG have announced that they're going to release a cheaper or lesser cost rear-wheel drive only model of the Cyberstar. So first things first, that is this first column over here. So some of the key differences is pretty much you get single motor, which is just rear-wheel drive, as opposed to front-wheel drive. It's going to be just over $15,000 less. Now this is before on-road costs, so you've got to add obviously a couple of $1,000s on top of that as well for your driveway cost. But overall, before on-road costs, it's almost, or it's a little over $15,000 difference. What do you lose out? So you get the same battery, you lose out on the front motor. Because you lose out on the front motor, you also go slower by 2 seconds. You do get a little bit more range though, because you don't need to power the front motors as well. Instead of Alcantara interior, you have Nappa leather. And then on the wheel side of things, 19-inch on the rear-wheel drive, 20-inch on the all-wheel drive. And then the second part of the news was the MG Cyber GTS. So that has been announced that it is going to come. However, we don't have any of the specs confirmed as yet. Now, the MG Cyber GTS, what is it? So that is the hardtop version. So that's this one, and that's the reason why I put this picture over here. So they're saying it's coming, but we just have to wait. No specs as yet, but it's coming. So if you guys like the convertible, you've now got another choice of paying $15,000 less before on-road costs. Or if you want the hardtop only, you're going to have to wait, but it is coming. So that's all the news on MG Cyberstar and Cyber. However, sticking with the Cyber theme, remember last week I showed you guys this, the MG Cyber X? Well, because the Shanghai Auto Show, or Shanghai Motor Show, has kicked off, we've got the photos now. So here it is. Pause the screen there, have a look. Let me know what you guys think of the car. I think the back looks still, as I originally said, looks very like a Toyota Prado or even a Lexus. But the front, I think, looks pretty good. I really like if you guys zoom in, I don't know if you guys can see from this picture here, and if you can see this here, but it's got pop-up headlights. Like, bring them back, yes. Bring that back. Now, I don't know if that's going to make ADR approval or anything, and I don't even know if this car's coming to Australia, because at the moment, there's been no confirmation. However, if it does, I really do hope that we do start to see pop-up headlights come back, because those were awesome. I've always loved them growing up as a kid, seeing those cars with pop-up lights. I don't know, as I said, if they'll pass ADR approvals, but one can only hope. And yeah, that's essentially the car. Okay, let's get moving on. Okay, Xiaomi YU7. So, don't know if you guys recall, but this is essentially the SUV version of the SU7, which is a smaller sedan. And so, all of what I've got on the screen is just a copy and paste from previous. However, the new stuff is that we now have interior photo leaked. So, here we go. What do you guys see? What do you guys notice? So, the SU7 is down the bottom, YU7 at the top. First thing I noticed is they've changed from this flat section over here to a raised section over here, which essentially splits up the passenger and the driver. That's also potentially so that they could move the screen up higher, because the YU7 is a higher seating car. So that helps you make it more enclosed as well. And the other thing that I noticed is, I'm not too sure if there's still a heads-up display in the YU7, because you can see P clearly over here, which means that you'll definitely have your speed somewhere here. In the SU7, you had a small dash over here, and you also had a heads-up display. I can't see it based on the photos, but you do also have a display and multiple displays that go all around the front over here. So it looks like whilst you don't have that one screen over here, they've kind of put the information all across the top over here. Now, as much as I'd love to tell you guys more about the car, that's all the information we had. It was just the fact that it was a leaked picture. So that's the latest update on Xiaomi's YU7. There's still no confirmation on the brand coming into Australia at all, but I would love to see that brand here. I'd love to see it here. They make such a good looking car, and yeah, that's all I have to say. Okay, let's keep moving on. Two cars have been spotted BMW 3 and M3 based on their Neue Classe platform. And I don't even know how you pronounce that. It sounds just like Neue Classe. Like, if there's a proper way to pronounce it, and you guys can sound it out, please let me know. Drop it in the comments how you would pronounce that. But either way, the BMW 3 and M3 in Neue Classe have been spotted again. So the three pictures, this first one here, this bottom one, and this top right one here is the 3 Series, or the new one that's coming. And then you've got the M3 that's been spotted elsewhere as well, under heavy camouflage, obviously, for all of them. So photos are still, I guess, heavily camouflaged. We still can't work out too much more than what we've previously said, but yeah, it's good to see that they're continually doing testing, because 2026 is going to come around fairly soon, so we definitely want to see what the new M3 or even the whole new 3 Series looks like. Because I remember when they released the current ones, at least for the M3, when they went to those big grills, whatever you guys want to call them, nostrils, grills, you know, it didn't have really good feedback. Everyone hated them, and I think just over time people have grown to love it. I'll be honest, I was one of them. When I first saw it, I didn't like it at all, and now I love it. I think it's a really good looking car. But yeah, that's been the only thing that's been spotted this week. And so, as always, that takes us to the end of the episode. So if you guys have watched the entire thing, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you give the video a like, subscribe for more content, and if you want to support the channel more, feel free to join as a channel member. And yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon for more content. Take care.